welcome to our monthly meeting. We are here to accomplish the business of schools for the sake of our students. We do want to hear from our citizens, and there's time for public comment prior to action items on the agenda. We ask that speakers identify themselves and their home district. We also ask that comments are limited to 3 minutes in order that we can get to the volleyball game. That's made up. I'm just kidding. In order to provide equity to all speakers and to ensure our meeting is reasonable and length, if you have more information that can be summarized in 3 minutes, please provide LEPA materials for the board's review. The moderator will ask you to conclude your remarks as time has elapsed. If you have questions during the session, you may ask for clarification from your school board member or a school administrator after the meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming tonight. Would you all please stand as we say our pledge to you? Attention, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. We have a motion to adopt the agenda for this evening. We have a motion, Mr. Grove. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. McCool. Any comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So ordered. Ms. Campbell. This is our school board liaison, Ms. Campbell. She's going to be addressing the board this evening.
Oh, the microphone
yeah.
is the wrong way.
No, you should definitely flip that around.
It works better that way.
Thought maybe it might be like that.
It was a test, Nat. You passed. Yeah, thanks.
Good evening, esteemed members of the school board. A lot has happened at the high school since the beginning of the school year. Our sports teams, as you know, have started their seasons and are doing really well. The football team has won 2 of their 3 games. The volleyball varsity has won 1 of their 5, which hopefully that'll change tonight. The JV team for volleyball has won 2 of their 5 games. And speaking of volleyball, at tonight's game, we are having a gold out, which is when the students of RCHS wear gold to show their support for childhood cancer. And Leo Club is having a bake sale for childhood cancer awareness. All proceeds from the bake sale will go to charities that help stop childhood cancer. And as the treasurer of Leo Club, I can say that Ms. Moore's Heavenlies are really good, and you guys should all go and check them out if you get the chance. The band has started their marching band season, and their theme is Breaking Chains, with songs Heathens by 21 Pilots, Soul Block Tango from Chicago, the musical, and a mix of Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne and Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson. On the topic of arts, the drama department has just finished casting for their Fall 1 act titled Houston, We Have a Problem, which is a comedy about the trials and tribulations that come with trying to put on a high school play production. So, after speaking with members of the student body, it has been voiced to me that students are not content with the current bell schedule that we have. We currently have 3 minutes between classes, and students have said that this is not enough to get to class and to use the restrooms. Another rule that we at Rappahannock High School have been using for the past 2 years, I'd say, is that for the first and last 10 minutes of class, we can't leave the classroom, which I think is fine, but it doesn't allow students to have enough time between classes and, they have to wait for more than 20 minutes to use the bathroom, and that takes time out of instructional time to write hall passes and use the facilities. I was also asked to bring up the new second breakfast schedule. Most students really enjoyed second breakfast last year. It was a time to get something to eat, socialize, run small errands like go to the office and drop off a note you might have, and relax before your seminar class. But now it has been combined with seminar, and it takes away not only the social aspect of that time in the morning, but also makes us have like, it makes seminar feel like we have less time to study. They're not separate, they're combined, so then we're in the getting breakfast for a long time and then coming in seminar, so it feels like we have less time. Students have always said they preferred the former breakfast protocol. And Carmen Pond actually sent out a survey, and she's printed it out and asked that I bring it to you tonight.
Sure.
You should
We'll make sure everybody's got it.
quite a long one, so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time, and I'll hear any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Natalie tonight?
Now, Natalie, I do see that we have a former student, school board liaison
Yes,
in
we
the
do.
audience that may also want to come address the board, if I'm correct, so.
So may I introduce Hugh Garner? He is a senior in high school, and he's running for you.
Thank you, Natalie.
Back in the county.
Hi, Hugh.
Hi, thank you, Natalie. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. You may or may not know me. My name is Hugh Garner, and I'm a senior here at Rappahannock County High School. The reason I'm here today is to tell you about the year between now and the last time I was here at a school board meeting. Over a year ago, I informed the board of my acceptance to the Congress Bundestag Youth Exchange Program, an exchange program that is jointly funded by the U.S. Congress and German Bundestag. This program is a competitive scholarship where students across the United States apply to participate in a fully funded 10-month abroad opportunity. As I departed from my last school board meeting as student liaison, I remember that the board asked me to keep them informed upon my return on what it was like.
Yeah, I remember.
I learned at orientation on going abroad and learning what it is to be an exchange student. I learned in language camp, where I learned the German language, the basics that only brought you to your host family, where you learn the right way to eat breakfast, the right way to put your utensils on the plate, and the right way to do everything. You relearned everything. And when you couldn't learn fast enough, you adapted. When I wasn't quite able to catch up with the Germans in their German class, I went and I learned with 5th grade Ukrainian refugees from a Ukrainian textbook. I thrived in Germany. I was able to use public transport. I visited, I traveled. I was able to have a year for me. But sometimes when it got tough and I couldn't thrive myself, I learned that I had to go to my friends or my host family, and we thrived together. It wasn't just me anymore. I danced, I laughed, I found friends, family. I wrote home to tell everybody all about it. My exchange was a lifetime experience, and in the end, I'm still so very happy to be home. I mentioned that I wrote home. I wrote friends, family, and even my Panther family. If you look up in the front office of the school, there are postcards of me writing back here to let you guys all know how I was doing. I had the opportunity to see so much, and what I realized is there's so many amazing views, people, and experiences out there. But truthfully, there is nowhere like home, Rappahannock County. One of the things I found myself explaining to my German peers was school spirit and how Rappahannock was somewhat like a family, which is something that the Germans did not quite grasp in the school. They're very separated in what they would consider school and their extracurriculars. They're not one and together like we are here. Germany is great, but there are things you can't find there, or I believe anywhere else, things that only come from the German word Heimat. Heimat is the German word for homeland, but it's a bit more than that. It's a place where you feel at home, a place that you will always have a part of. And my Heimat is Rappahannock. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
making sure. I do remember asking you to come back and
Mhm.
check in.
My last thing would be, do you have any questions for me before I sit down?
So this is your senior year.
This is my senior year. It's very exciting, and
What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to graduate here because I know that you can't find scholarship opportunities like you can at Rappahannock. You can't find people who want to push you to succeed and want to tailor your future to you. I say this, I'm not from Rappahannock. I was born in California. I've lived in Fairfax County, North Carolina, but like I said, Rappahannock is my quote-unquote high mom. It's my home.
Oh.
So,
Are you going to be in the play?
I'm not going to be in
Okay.
the
I was curious, I remember you from before you were a kid.
Yeah. I'm
Great senior year.
senior year, locking in, locking down, so we're just pushing through. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming back and speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.
Meetings are full of surprises. Great plan. All right, our next thing on the agenda will require a motion, but I'm going to read it to you. It is a resolution honoring the service and dedication of Bobby Baldwin. And rather than make you stand up here the whole time, Bobby, that I'm reading this, because it's pretty long, I'm just going to wait and then we'll present it to you as soon as we make the motion. Whereas Robert Bobby Baldwin has served Rappahannock County Public Schools with dedication and distinction for over 20 years as a local custodian. And whereas Mr. Baldwin's work ethic, reliability, and attention to detail have contributed to maintenance of a clean, safe, and welcoming environment for our students, staff, and the entire school community. And whereas through his many years of service, Bobby has become a valued and respected member of the school community, always ready to go above and beyond to ensure the smooth operation of school facilities, often working behind the scenes to keep the schools running efficiently. And whereas his friendly demeanor and willingness to help and positive attitude have had a lasting impact on staff and students alike, creating a legacy of kindness, support, and professionalism within the Rappahannock County Public Schools. And whereas Mr. Baldwin has decided to retire from his position effective August 30th, 2024, concluding a remarkable career of service that has spanned more than 2 decades. Now therefore be it resolved by the Rappahannock County School Board that the appreciation of the citizens of Rappahannock County, members of the board, staff, administration be expressed to Bobby Baldwin for his exceptional service, his steadfast commitment to the well-being of the school community, and his contributions to maintaining a high standard of excellence in our schools, and that this expression of appreciation and gratitude be made part of the permanent records of the county, and that a copy of this resolution be presented to Bobby Baldwin by the Rappahannock County School Board dated this 10th day of September 2024. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So
We
moved.
have a motion from Mr. Grove. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Rubin. All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bobby, would you come forward, please? We know we have a lady that wants to get a picture. You know that, right? All right. Come here and turn around. Pose for a picture. This will be you.
Wonderful. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And again, 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
But there's one more thing. We know how much you love your awards because we know this because we found one when cleaning out your closet that you actually, from 2010, Bobby Baldwin Support Staff Above and Beyond Award for 2010. So we're going to give this back to you. You probably did.
Up to.
I'm so glad you came.
All right.
You are good.
Thank everybody.
All right, donations. Madam Clerk, did you want to read these, or you just want me to total them up and speak to these?
Do you want me to?
You want
In the
to?
mic? Yeah.
It's a remarkable list.
It really is. So.
The donations for this 1 month, they're totaling $12,462. It's remarkable, and do you want to read through them?
Sure, so B&B Signal LLC, $400, B&L Builders, $750, Blue Ridge Orthopedic and Spine Center, $250. These are all going to the class of 2025. Empowering Word and Healing Hands Ministry, $250. First Choice Plumbing, $2,362. Harris Legacy Dentistry, $100. Jeffrey A. Harris DDS, $250. PT Home Inspections, $500. Warren County Veterinary Clinic, $500. So I'm guessing that's for their senior trip they're raising money for. The Rappahannock County Lions Club Foundation donated $2,100 to the workforce training program at Laurel Ridge for our HVAC one. That helped us maintain the cost of no more than $100 per student for that amazing program. So thank you very much to the Lions Club for that wonderful donation. Bandry Consulting donated $5,000 to the baseball team. For a total of this month, $12,462 in donations.
It is, and
Incredible.
the donations are accepted with thanks as part of the consent agenda. Thank you, Dr. Rimsley. Is there a motion regarding the minutes from August 13th?
I move we accept the minutes.
Thank you. Ms. Bynum made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. McCool. Is there any comments? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, no? So ordered, Mr. Grove, you're promoted to doctor. Have you had a chance to review the,
I have, and everything looks to be in order. We're at about 10%, and that's about right.
is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Grove, is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Bynum. The attendance report is sitting at, so I can't get it, oh, here, it finally opened. So we're sitting at 751 K through 12 and 775 PK through 12, right?
Yes,
That's
good
above
numbers.
That's above what we were expecting.
Right about at
Right
it,
about
yes.
it.
So, and we did project an increase in ADM, and that's what we saw, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
It's good,
About 34 students more than anticipated initially, but
right, good. All right, we have a motion on the table for the consent agenda. All in favor, aye? Aye, opposed, no? So ordered. Dr. Grimsley.
yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The first report of the superintendent is actually a report by our academic services coordinator, Karen Ellis, who will be giving us our update on accreditation.
Good evening, everyone. So it's that time of year again when I come before you, so thank you for the opportunity to talk about accreditation this year for the upcoming school year. So before we get started, I just want to let you know that both schools are fully accredited this year, and so that's exciting news, but I'm going to give you some details and some numbers to go with that report. So we're going to start and do it school by school. So we're going to start with the elementary school. On the right-hand side, you'll see that we have six school quality indicators, and at the elementary school, we were rated at level 1 at or above the standard in all 6 quality indicators. Yay, a lot of hard work. So we have English and math, and then that's the overall achievement for all our students in grades 3 through 7 are the tested years. And then we have our achievement gaps, and that would be broken down by subgroup, and I'll explain more in a second, and that would be for both English and math. And then our science academic achievement, that's overall student achievement and chronic absenteeism. So all of those are at level 1, that green is good. So if we go to the next screen, what I did this year was I wanted you to be able to compare from the previous year, and so it's pretty evident at the elementary school to see last year's accreditation for last year, which is based on the previous school year's data, so it's based on 2022-23 data, and you can see that we improved, the biggest improvement there you'll see is our achievement gap in English and our achievement gaps in math, that's good because they will be our subgroups that we talk about tonight, our students with disabilities, Hispanic, our L population, or economically disadvantaged. So I'll break that down, but the good news is we saw an improvement at where we were rated from last year. And on the next screen, so now we're going to get into some numbers. Not as pretty or colorful, but important. So our academic achievement overall, so English, grades K through 7 is basically your reading SOL scores. So for reading, I just took the previous year, last year's accreditation status, which was 2023 data, and compared it to 2023-24 data, which is where our accreditation comes from this year. And what you'll notice in all three academic areas overall is that in English, math, and science, we saw a substantial, well, English and math, we saw a substantial increase. So you can see on the far right-hand column that we went up 5.43 percentage points for reading and 7.8 percentage points for math. Science, we saw a little dip, but nothing alarming. It's a different cohort. It's just, we have small class sizes, so a couple kids here or there. So we were at an 84% and at a 79 from last year. So the good news about science is last year we had new standards in 2022-23 that we tested for the first time, and we did fabulous. And then last year we were almost at an 80% pass rate. So again, different cohort, it's just 5th grade science. You're not looking at a huge population of students. So
these, so it's a test that how many people of our,
So
wondering
it's,
what the percentage is?
sure, so students in grades 3 through 7 all take a math and a
Everyone.
reading test. In science, it's just 5th grade science for us. So,
You're talking about 40 kids.
Yeah.
55,
55.
60. So, you know, it, like I said, a 5 percentage point decrease could be a matter of a couple kids, right? I do want to mention that for reading, which they call English on the accreditation report, that benchmark for a student to pass is 75%, and for math and science, a 70% for accreditation. So you can see that we were well above in all areas for reading, math, and science, above those benchmarks. So far, so good? I know it gets a little dense, so just let me know if you have questions. So academic gap in English. So we saw dramatic increases this year. What happens is they break out students into subgroups. So you can see TS is too small. I think I need to back up a little, sorry. TS is too small, so we don't get a percentage for that category, but our economically disadvantaged learners, English learners, Hispanic population, multiple races, students with disabilities, and then the white subgroup. So you can see that we increased in all those areas in English last year. And you can see that we had some significant gains. English learners up 27.27%. Again, a smaller population than a lot of school divisions, but nonetheless, 100% of students passed or demonstrated growth on their reading test. And that's phenomenal.
So about how many English learners do we have?
Good question.
44.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
And you'll see significant growth
About
elsewhere.
40 more than we had 2 years ago.
Yes, I know, it's the most growing population that we have at school.
I put asterisks by multiple races and students with disabilities because they were areas last year where we were at a level 3 for both of those. And our multiple races, we improved from a level 3 to a level 1. That's almost a 30 percentage point jump for that subgroup. Students with disabilities, I do want to highlight that. We improved from a level 3 to a level 2. Overall, we were level 1 because that was our only level 2 category. We had no level 3s. But I do want to mention that while they didn't make that 75% cut benchmark, they did, we can also demonstrate growth through a reduction in our failure rate of 10% or more. So they were able to jump a level to level 2. And that's significant growth as well for that population. Still work to do. All subgroups were at a level 1 this year, except students with disabilities, but again, they improved from level 3 to level 2. And because that was our only level 2 indicator in that academic gap, then we overall were a level 1. Next is our achievement gap for math, same subgroups. Again, you'll see where if it's too small, it's a TS. But again, you will see on the right-hand side significant gains for all our subgroups. And I have an asterisk by students with disabilities because I want to note that 70% is your cut for math for accreditation if you get 70% or more to pass the test or show growth. And so we made that 70% benchmark out rate. So I'm very impressed. We went from a level 3 to a level 1 with students with disabilities in math. But it's significant gains everywhere. Again, you can see those numbers. And then we'll get to the high school. The high school has the same academic indicators plus chronic absenteeism, but then we also add on 3 more at the high school. Graduation and completion index, the dropout rate, and college career and civic readiness index. So as you'll see, all our indicators were level 1 or level 2. And if you go to the next screen, you can do some comparison from the year before. And you can see that we made some gains. We have no red, no level 3s, which is always excellent. Our achievement gap in English, we improved from a level 3 to a level 2. Again, I'll share some numbers about those subgroups so you can kind of break that out, tease that out a little bit. And our chronic absenteeism, you're going to notice that we went from a level 2 to a level 1 with our chronic absenteeism rate. We did see that we dropped in math, and I do want to note that at the high school, they do not test every year. So English is actually reading and writing, 8th graders, and then typically 10th or 11th grade, 10th for our writing, 11th for the end of course test. And then your math, typically it's all your 8th graders. Algebra 1 is where most of our students get their verified credit. We can have some test takers in geometry and algebra 2 if they're still trying to get that verified credit, but not it's not every grade level. And so I want to point out that while math we're always consistent, we took a little dip last year, but our 8th grade there was some change in teachers. We kind of expected it, and so we feel confident that we're going to rebound for that this year. And then science, we are at a level 2, but again, some things in place that we're going to get us back to that, meeting that benchmark. So if the next page is our academic achievement, again, that's overall all the students that tested. So English is composed of reading and writing at the high school, math and science is 8th grade science, biology, and then any students who may not have gotten that biology credit and are still trying to do it through earth science. So not the entire school, not every grade level at the high school. But you can see that we had some significant gains with our reading and writing scores, 10 percentage points. Even science, it's an area of focus, but we did not dip down from last year. We had a new standard that we tested last year. Math is where we saw that decrease, and again, not totally unexpected, and we know why. If you go to the next screen, we're going to break out our subgroups. Again, English is that reading and writing test. That is the benchmark of 75%. And so you'll see our different subgroups. What I really want to note is that we have increases for all our subgroups, some pretty substantial. If you look at multiple races last year, so while last year was too small, so I really couldn't compare last year to this year, I took our 3-year average where we were running about 78%, and last year 94% of our students met the benchmark. So a huge gain there. Students with disabilities, again, while they made significant gains, and that's still, you say, well, that's still below the benchmark. We were able to jump from a level 3 to a level 2 because we reduced the failure rate by 10% or more. So just worthy to note, those two subgroups. All our subgroups were performing at a level 1 for English, which is pretty remarkable. All our subgroups were at a level 1. If we look at math, again, that benchmark for accreditation for us is 70% or higher. And we, again, knew we were going to have some decrease there in some areas, especially with that 8th grade group. But we, we have some plans in place. I feel confident. Math is always consistent. And so I feel confident that this year will be a much better year. I do want to note that students with disabilities remained at a level 3. That was our only level 3 subgroup, and that's why we got the level 2 overall rating. Because if you have any level 3s in that subgroup rating, you're going to be a level 2. And then our other indicators. Here's where you got to pay close attention. Negative is not bad necessarily. Chronic absenteeism. We went from 8.65% at the elementary. We dropped that by almost 3 percentage points. That means more kids coming to school regularly. Our CHS, we saw a 5.66 decrease in chronic absenteeism. Those are good things. Graduation and completion index, we never have any problem, but we saw a gain there. And then the dropout rate, that's another one where negative is good. So we saw a decrease there of almost 2% in the dropout rate. Again, we have small numbers. We're talking about 1 or 2 students here. And then your college career and civic readiness index. So we were at a 98%. We were fine at a level 1 there. Areas of focus. So at the elementary and high school, we're always going to monitor all groups. We're here for all students. But we will continue to put our focus in students with disabilities at the elementary school, especially in reading, and at the high school in reading and math. We will put our focus in overall achievement in science at the high school. And then at both schools, we will continue and refine our process and implement a tiered system of supports for all of our students. That you'll hear more from the principals next month with their comprehensive plans, improvement plans, and you'll see some of this focus come back up in strategies for what we're going to do this year in those areas. And then finally, I just want to thank you for your support. We have a great board. You guys are always supportive of us. We never feel not supported, so I do thank you for that. Any questions?
Good place to be, it seems.
Good place to be.
And places to be.
Yeah. And no matter what gets thrown at us as far as accreditation, we're always going to do what's right by students. That really, if we keep that goal, then everything else is going to fall into place if we do what's right for our students.
I think it's important to take our kudos back to the staff, to teachers.
Yes,
That's where it happens.
absolutely.
It truly is in the classroom.
It absolutely 100%. They have the direct impact. They're in the trenches day in and day out. They 100% deserve the credit.
And even now, to see our staff with all of the changes, all these rules that we just talked about are all changing. Right before our eyes, cut scores are going to change on these tests and things, right, as we're building the plane in the air. Which is not uncommon at this state level. We're kind of used to that, but it is a challenge. It is going to be a challenge, and there has been so much training that has needed to take place, and Karen has been so great in scheduling that training way in advance, coordinating all those efforts, making sure teachers have what they need, and it's been awesome going to both buildings and seeing, like, they are working so hard, but they are rolling up their sleeves. They're like, all right, and it's awesome to see. They are up for the challenge and very professional about it, so.
Yeah, new English standards were implemented this year along with the Virginia Literacy Act, which I did a presentation a few months ago for you guys, as well as new math standards. And then next year, the history standards will be fully implemented, and they're rewriting the science. We've been told they won't change too much, but always to be determined. So again, that kind of goes back to my comment. We get a lot thrown at us. Teachers get a lot thrown at them. And sometimes we get caught in the middle of things, but as long as our goal is always to do right by our students, we're doing okay.
I was thinking, we're just fortunate that you're such a data nerd.
I am.
For one, and that our strategy, we're very intentional, so it's good. We've been very intentional with strategy, and then there's the tactical piece where it's got to be, you put feet on it, and we've been very successful because we're focused, and anyway, I appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Because it's making us pay attention in the right places to be successful as a group. So I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Item 4.2 are the annual bid awards for our food service department, and it is the usual suspects. Merchants, Skank Foods, Local Food Hub, Schmidt Baking, Garber's Ice Cream, micro purchases with local farmers throughout the year. We are trying to enhance that. And the software we use is Meals Plus by Link Incorporated. So thank you to the food service department. That does not need a vote as it is part of a state contract bid.
And with the free breakfast and lunch, how is that going, or does it affect, how is it affecting, or how?
It's impacting our inventories of what we order because
Yeah.
things are flying off the shelves. I mean, I'm happy to report we are already seeing a drastic increase in participation in both our lunch numbers and especially breakfast. And even second breakfast at the high school with some of the changes, we have seen a large increase in that, which is sort of a prerequisite to continue to be CEP eligible, to continue to offer free at the high school level.
It's like, I saw the milk machine on Facebook.
Yes, the milk machine is great.
Is that, what is, tell me about that.
So the milk
Like,
machine-
Is that for everybody who's eating lunch?
It
Like, you
is.
Just grab a glass.
We
of
have
milk?
those instead
Okay.
of the cartons now, so you
Yeah.
can go dispense your milk and it eliminates waste and keeps fresher milk, and the kids love it because strawberry milk is back. I hear that's the kids tell me all the time, that is huge.
Chocolate's back.
Yeah, well, chocolate they've usually had, but strawberry's been a challenge, I think, to get it to the right sugar levels or something.
Okay.
Not my
Yeah.
department completely, but they are very excited about
So,
it.
so anything, even if they brought their lunch, they could get.
Absolutely. Now, they would be charged for an extra if they weren't getting the
An extra,
entree.
right.
But yeah, they can get milk with their entrees, yep. Exciting. All right, item 4.3, I'm very, very excited about as well. It's like an angel reached down and touched Rappahannock. So we'd like to talk about our Rural Education Achievement and Community Health Initiative, which is a grant program, a grant initiative that originated as an offshoot of our SIFT teamwork that stressed the importance of reaching out to seek philanthropic support. And then it grew into a larger discussion, and there was a child focus group that came out and did a large-scale investigation of the needs of education in the county. And I do have Betsy Deal here, if you want to come up to the podium and help present this with me and talk about it, as you were a big part of this. Thank you. And we do have an infographic that's available for everybody, and I'll pull that up.
If you all don't have one of
Yeah.
these, they're over here on the counter, and they're excellent, excellent publications
You all have one?
that everybody should have a copy of, because it's very well done.
Now, as we're handing those out, I will say that a big piece of this is about, of course, mental health as a big focus and mental wellness of everybody. Our PRIDE program, Positive Relationships Inspire Drive for Excellence, teacher morale, professional development, and all these things that make for what we were just talking about, the accreditation being what it is and making sure students are succeeding. And a part of this was trying to emphasize the need to resource and staff appropriately all of the tiers of support necessary to be able to do what is best practice. And it is a complicated concept if you're not used to the jargon in education. So when we say, isn't it great we got a school-based health network grant to support transition coaches, which are therapists basically in the school that utilize school-based outpatient therapies, that now we have this grant, then why do we need behavior interventionists anymore, right? So really getting people to understand this tiered system of support, because you need to be adequately staffed and resourced at each level to actually make the gains that are necessary, especially in all the domains. Academic, we've been doing that pretty well there. We can always use more support, but mental health is increasingly important because there are tier 1 supports that you need to do universally for everybody. Tier 2, when they're not adequately the needs being met there and not showing progress. And then Tier 3 are high-risk groups that do need more intensive supports. So this grant is an amazing contribution to that end around best practice in education. Did you want to add anything?
I think one of the things to underline is that this is a multi-year initiative. I think we're going to learn a tremendous amount and we're going to be flexible. We want everybody at the table. So this is really a collaboration both between a number of different funding sources and a number of different organizations. I see this as an opportunity to really build an incredible first-class rural school district that has strong professional development and has a commitment to creating a really supportive learning environment. And that's one of the reasons for the emphasis, and also the fact that the school went out and got a 5-year grant from the network, from the school-based mental health network. So this is going to be something that we hope over the course of the next 3 years to continue to have conversations with you all as the school board and with other leaders in the community that care deeply about how we can really create an even stronger program in this school that supports all the students and all the faculty and staff. So I'm excited about it, but stay tuned. I think there's going to be a lot of learning that comes out of this, and we'll be in touch. I'm sure you're going to be seeing more of us maybe than you want to in the next year, but this is, that's part of this, is learning together. So, but it's been wonderful to work with Shannon and Carol Johnson, Holly, bringing these things into an infographic that's easy to understand, because so much of this is about communication. So I represent, one entity, but the PATH Foundation has contributed to this, as has the School-Based Mental Health Network, and I'm sure we're going to stimulate others to step up and be involved. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's a great innovation, and I encourage you to get a copy of this, maybe two, and
Sure.
so it's very consumable and helped me kind of get my hands around what does this mean. So very well done.
It's a great talking piece too. It is very heavy in evaluation metrics on both ends, on this side and our school-based mental health network grants, which is great. We love to show best practice at work. We know it's going to work. It's very well conceptually theorized in what we set up the framework to be. But the evaluation components are very heavy, which are great. That's how you prove these things to be successful. And we are thrilled about the professional development capacity building that is in this as well. Working with Center for Inspired Teaching is something that we would never even imagine we could do as a rural school district. That's professional development the Fairfax and Prince William counties and those folks can tap into, but these are, we just had a retreat Saturday for our Center for Inspired Teachers with our lead teachers, and they got together. They were so inspired. Our principals were both there. Thank you very much. And it's just really about supportive learning environments is the key to it all, is, making sure every student feels adequately supported, they have the supports they need to do well academically, to behave, to want to be in school, and that goes for the adults too. And it's all based on the conceptual framework of the tiered system of supports, which you heard us talk about for the accreditation. It's very, very important. Any questions?
I mean, just an observation that it seems like, we have a lot of staff turnover this year, and it just feels like it's a great time to sort of turn a page and have all these supports and new things. I think in some ways it's making a positive thing. It's a perfect timing, and maybe it'll be an easier time to implement some of these new things that we're working towards. Well done, well done. Very exciting.
All right, the next item, 4.4, is our Family Futures update. We've asked that Family Futures Executive Director Ned Waterhouse come to the podium every once in a while and give us an update on what's going on in the world of Family Futures.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Grimsley. Appreciate the opportunity to kind of do a quick update for you about what's going on, but just to make a remark along the lines of what Betsy was talking about and what you were just talking about. As somebody who's relatively recently joined the effort in Rappahannock, I'm amazed at the energy and the synergy that occurs here. And I think you all are part of the support network for keeping things going and keeping initiatives focused. And the idea that this school division is as innovative and as forward-thinking and as self-focused on solving problems as it is because of the culture that you've created here. And it's delightful to be a part of this, and in the sense of this small part that we do, which is the Family Futures program. As you know, our program is about educating students starting at the kindergarten level and proceeding by the year 2032 all the way through 12th grade on financial literacy and being good decision makers in the area of financial, all things financial. The other thing that's been really interesting about this is just like what you all do as you go along and innovate, we've done the same thing with this program. And I have three members of the board are here with me tonight. Our whole board is involved in the initiative to try and innovate with programming, and we are really blessed to have a partnership with two wonderful entities. One is Rappahannock County Public Schools, the other is Oakview National Bank. And I would like to just say a word about, we've had a lot of direct support from not just Dr. Grimsley and also Karen Ellis. I'm glad she's here tonight. But I don't know where she went. Oh, there you go. Sorry, Karen. But also Jenny Capsa, who is now kind of thoroughly involved in the Profile of Graduate program. I imagine Jenny's role is going to continue on with us to some degree as we move into the upper grades. But also Bethany Bostic has been amazing in terms of being a resource and a supporter. And the folks that support her, Erica Robinson, and now Bethany Covich. We have a person who we brought on board last year. Her name is Erin Cherry, and she works here in the elementary school. And she is going to be taking over the direct instruction with the program. And our instructional offering is going from 4 instructional lessons at all grade levels that are involved. Over the course of a school year, we'll be reaching 7 lessons this year, the current school year, and in addition to that, a dedicated pre- and post-assessment period on the kind of bookending, as well as a culminating event at each grade level that will allow kids to apply their learnings at the grade levels that they've been immersed in. I just wanted to touch quickly on a couple of things, a couple of other statistics here. We've got 360 custodial savings accounts in play right now, and we've got over $120,000 that are deposited and earning interest at a rate of 5%. So that's pretty good. I'm not going to make the statement again this year that every kid's going to walk out with $15,000. Yeah, exactly. Thankfully, she checked me on that last year. But just to give you a quick flavor of what's being taught this year, in the kindergarten level, we're focusing on basic money ideas, comparing money to bartering, for example, as a way of talking about money and getting kids to think about money. And also beginning or introducing kids to the notion of saving and the purpose of saving and what saving can do for them. Some of the concepts are reinforced every year, literally every year. Saving is certainly one of them. And we make good use of the quarterly statements that we get for the Oakview accounts so that children can see what's happening with that interest and where that's taking them financially. And then first grade, we cover things that, and I don't have all this committed to memory, so bear with me for a second. Learning about interest, that's where we start introducing the idea of interest earning, and the more about banking and the way banks operated. Setting goals is introduced at the first grade level, and again, that's another concept that's critical and gets reinforced and scaffolded through the years and built upon. The other thing that I found interesting is first grade is where we introduce them to the notion of volunteering or doing things for others with no expectation of pay. So everything we do is not just hardcore dollars and cents. It's also values or ideas about helping other people and how important it is to think in those terms as they move through. Second grade, they learn about loans and the cost of loans, defining. We watched some of the lessons with Bethany last year about this, with defining what a producer and a consumer are, and they made a booklet, and they were all people in the Rappahannock community that do various functions and all, and they had to justify why they were this consumer or a producer, etc. Third grade, they learn about the differences between a debit card and a credit card, the cost of labor, the relationship between an employer and an employee, how to protect money, avoid financial risks, and not let marketing of peer pressure trick you into making bad financial decisions. In fourth grade, they get into learning about credit and learning about how a good credit rating is earned, and that there's a cost to credit as well. And I thought it was interesting, they learned about compound interest as both a positive and a negative impact. So if you're borrowing money versus if you're earning money. And being safe while shopping online. So there's a lot of pragmatic things that kids learn about that don't necessarily come to mind immediately. But and then fifth grade this year, we'll be focusing on the benefits of schooling after high school, insurance, taxes, investing, stock market, financial contracts, and also we're hoping to, and I haven't talked with Jenny about this in enough detail to say exactly how this is going to roll out, but it's a pumpkin patch project that's going to, among other things, teach our kids in fifth grade about budgeting and the costs of producing and then calculating expected profit. The kids can learn so much beyond what we at first blush would think they would be able to do, and the amazing part of this program is that it is just a part of the bigger picture here in Rappahannock and the value here of how education is implemented. And I just want to end by saying that I think you all hear about a lot of great things that are happening here, but I can tell you this program isn't happening anywhere else like this in Virginia. And I have yet to find, there are plenty of programs out there that get at the issue of custodial savings accounts and teaching the basic idea of savings. But I can't find other instances, particularly, certainly there are courses at the high school level, for example, like the personal economics course that's offered. But this kind of programming that is this scaffolded and this interwoven and reinforced up through starting in kindergarten. This is a rarity, and it's something that offers students in this school division and in this county something that is not available elsewhere. And it's really a major value add in that respect, I think. Anyway, thank you very much.
So, it is unique,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir.
You should, when word gets out.
It's
Right?
getting out.
This curriculum that has been created, there will be a demand, coming, because this is remarkable. I didn't know any of this when I graduated from high school, by the way, and this is wonderful. I love to see it, and I tend to think there's going to be a great demand. So I hope you'll.
Well, we're building towards, our value is to want to share this. We're careful not to call it a curriculum per se, because it's not a curriculum in the sense of the kinds of things that Karen was talking about. But it is a series of learning targets and a series of concepts that are being taught through experiential learning in a kind of a lab setting. That augment the standards of learning in financial literacy, for example, that are taught to all kids in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I understand.
You're absolutely right,
It's very
too.
modest though, but it's very modest, but it's changing the culture.
Trademark
See,
it.
And it's impacting families, so it's not just about the students. The families are having
No.
conversations around the dinner table
Yes, sir.
about what's happening. It's remarkable.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're really blessed to be a part of what's happening here at Panic.
Well, my first reaction to last year when they said they were making credit cards, I thought, oh my goodness. I just wonder what those conversations are going to be around the dinner
Oh, that'd be
table.
wonderful.
The student whips out their, hey, I got a credit card.
Conversation.
What?
Yeah, hopefully they really got that drilled in, that it's not free money.
Yes, well, and we're
Hope they
we're
really
pretty
understand.
thorough about some of that stuff, yeah.
That's interesting.
Anyway.
I see
There
that
is
you're
a
having a
price you pay.
fundraiser coming up, aren't you? Are you having you should
It's
say
this
it.
weekend,
in
right?
the
It's
public.
this Saturday, and we're competing with a couple of other important fundraiser events, but we're hopeful that we changed our time to try and adjust to make it a little more accessible. But it's at the Black Twig in Sperryville, and it's from 6 to 9 p.m. This Saturday. And we've been really, really happy with the Birgit especially has done a lot of getting the auction items and the silent auction items and everything going. And we're really looking forward to the outcome on I don't know if you all have heard, we have a Polaris ATV that's being raffled
I
off.
did see
Has
that.
anybody heard about that?
I want my number pulled, please.
Well, you know what? Oh, I'm glad to have the opportunity to say this. We have nothing to do with how that's selected. It's done by a program out in Indianapolis or somewhere, we're going to be linked into it, and it'll happen through the.
I'm ready to drive it home.
But there's still opportunities
You're back for
at
it.
the event. There's still opportunities to get a ticket to compete against Larry.
Absolutely, they were going to sell right up to
There you go.
when it gets selected, yeah, so sure.
I bought a bunch.
Anyway, thank you all for your time, I appreciate it.
Thank you, and thanks for coming, and
Thank
thanks
you,
for
Ned.
the effort.
Thanks a lot.
It is such a great recruitment tool, too. When you encounter a nine-year-old child at Rappahannock, they might ask you about your investment portfolio. They might.
It is fascinating, the Rappahannock School, and just reflecting on, our ability to be agile when it comes to data. When I was talking to Dr. B, when she was, I said, I hope one thing you'll find here is we are very agile. We can integrate things easily. It's a benefit of being small. And so we adapt very quickly. And anyway, great program, great addition, and a wonderful experience for young people. And it makes me feel even more ignorant of my own school experience. But I really appreciate what Family Futures is doing within our schools.
That concludes the superintendent's reports, Mr. Chairman.
Did you have an opportunity somewhere to speak about our SIFT?
New business.
New business? Okay, thanks. All right. Well, that was fun.
There you go.
Reports of Headwood representative.
Yes, I have a report. I met with Ms. Schaffler recently, and the first item is after school. It's in full swing with over 60 students enrolled now, and interestingly, there are over 20 of them are in the READ program, which has just expanded tremendously this, and I think that the students had the chance, there was a difference in how it was advertised, and so it's a combination of self-identified students and teacher-identified students. And there are 15 new READ volunteers participating in the program, in that particular part of the program. And Lacey Jenkins, the coordinator, has also hired 2 special ed teachers from the elementary school to each be available at all times to assist some of the students with more challenges behavior-wise and things like that. So that seems like it's an exciting program, really well established. And yeah, this is probably we're going to talk about this later on, but just a little bit more. But the $10,000 that we pledged was then matched by the supervisors, and Headwaters is the fiscal agent for that, and so they have retained the lobbyist as we had hoped would happen. So that's exciting. And the Harvest Festival, here's the sign for the Harvest Festival. October 5th from 11 to 5. It's going to be at the elementary school, outdoors, because it's not going to rain. And
Not this time.
Not this time. Yeah, it'll be on the hill there by the school board, in the school board fields, and there'll be all kinds of things: a silent auction, food with food trucks, student showcase, including some classes, and the FFA will have a petting zoo. There'll be games with Commit to Be Fit, and the 2 musicians, Bobby G and Cowpoke. And it's going to be fun. It's free to attend. It'll be just a fun community event with opportunities, of course, to support Headwaters as well. All right.
Thank you very much. MVGS?
We have not met since our last meeting. We'll meet next week,
Yep.
next Thursday.
Are you still chairing that group?
I am, so is she.
2 chairs, right here amongst us.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, information items. There is VSBA policy updates that we're reviewing, which I assume they're going to vote on next month. And Mr. Rubin and I will be reviewing to give our recommendation. But you have liberty to see them as well. COIA and FOIA training.
Yes. So,
Tell me again.
pursuant to 2.2-3704.2, all board members must receive their COIA and FOIA training. So this is your reminder to make sure you are up to date on that with Gail Checkai and myself, and we will make sure you have the options available to be able to receive that training if you're not up to date. So every 2 years,
It's
you
2
need to
years.
update that. Yes.
Boy.
So if we did it last year, we're still good.
You're still good, yes.
And Gail, you know who's 2 years?
I have the list.
You have the list? Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're allowed to see.
I'll send it to you.
Yes. So
It's
just-
it's mind numbing, in case anybody wondered.
It's all you can do to stay awake.
Thanks for reminding us, Gail. All right, thanks. Is there anyone from the public that would like to address the board this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm Steph Ritter, I'm from Wakefield. I just really want to commend you all on engaging in this REACH initiative. You know, Betsy's done an amazing job pulling a lot of resources together, but you all had to be agile or open enough to be willing to do this. And I just think it's amazing, and I think it'll make a huge difference, and I'm really grateful to all of you. Thank you.
Thanks, Steph. Is there anyone else this evening? Yes, sir.
Yeah, my feet haven't gotten tired sitting there.
It is a hard chair. I'm used to a cushion chair, but.
That's all right.
Cushion.
I kind of wish I would have known you had it there, because I would have been showing you youngsters from Rappahannock County driving 35 miles an hour, going down a track. This is a beautiful experience. That's why I'm here. In 2003, we started in Culpeper, in Culpeper with what is called the Culpeper Soapbox Derby. For the first 8 years, we had drivers. Our first year was 35 drivers. In 2008, the first year we had Rappahannock County drivers in the Derby. There were like 10 of them. We were the world's largest. So we grew fast, and so did we here in Rappahannock County. I was delighted to work with people and ask them for help, but at the same time, we raised our own money. I will tell you exactly where we got our cars. It'll be interesting for you all to know who have those cars now. First of all, the Rappahannock County. We have three divisions. We have stock division, we have super stock, and we have masters division. We have only one masters car. That's thanks to me. I'll pass this around, let you know what a soapbox derby looks like.
Good.
That happens to be a champion from Rappahannock County, Gabe Barossa, who raced several years ago, and he raced in the the Flint Hill Fire Department car. Look at the detail on that. That's exquisite, isn't it? That car could easily be chosen as the best looking. I tried to reach out to nonprofits first when I decided to do this delivery of these cars to the people. Rappahannock Elementary School was one of those. The Sheriff's Office got a car. Flint Hill Fire Department, Sperryville Fire Department, Castleton Fire Department, Amesville Fire Department, they all got cars for free. These are kits that were given to them. The sheriff came to the track in Culpeper to pick up the car, the kit. We made a presentation to her. It was delighted to have her come over. The Lunch Bunch has their own car. It was given to the bunch there. Then we had some people who went out and wanted to buy the cars for their own kids, or to make it available for kids. We had, if you remember, Blue Ridge Mac that used to be in Woodville. She bought a car. It's still available and it's still raced. Copper Fox Antiques has a car. The Inn of Little Washington has a speedy car. Castleton Festival, let me tell you about Castleton Festival. That car's been raced for a long period of time, but in 22 and 23, it was assigned to Maeve Kubi. Maybe who graduated last year from this school. She's now at yes, she's in a great school up there. Anyway, in 2002, she drove and she came in second place in her division in that car. Last year, she got the championship. She went to Akron. She became number 8 out of 72 drivers driving that year in Akron, Ohio. We're really excited about that. Other cars were Wakefield Country Day School, who has 2 cars now. I'm sorry, we have only 1 here, but we could do 2 or 3 or 4. And I have 1 master's car, and that's one that I decided that I would decide to have. It's a beautiful car. It's a black car. It's Rappahannock County written on it. It's got the mountains in the background. It's a great little car, but it's a master's car, and that's being driving. That also is won the championship here. We've had 5 champions from Rappahannock County who have gone to Akron to represent us. My desire in being here is to find out how best to get kids from the school here. The elementary school would be perfect to start with. My derby allows 8 years old. I allow 7-year-old. I work with 8 years old on I have 20 cars. Here in Rappahannock County, we have 20 cars. We're the biggest county of the 7 counties, other than Culpeper, that supplies cars for the derby. This year it was slow. Larry will tell you. I had a bad accident. He pushed me down my stairs backwards, but that's okay. It slowed me down a lot.
Picked him up.
I think we had only 2 drivers this year. I think it's the Mosier family. I don't know if you know them or not. They have the young kids here in the school. They have a history of the Soapbox Derby before they moved to the Culpeper area. Going back to 1949, when the Derby first got organized, her grandfather, the little one's grandfather, raced in the Derby in Akron, Ohio. So they're very good at, I need help.
So can you tell us?
I need help, please.
I'm not supposed to address you guys.
I would tell you.
At this point, I had a question, like, is it a dangerous thing to do? Like, how?
No.
Cars?
Yeah, like.
That's why I need to show.
So
Did you
need
look
to
at the car?
educate people about it.
All right, let me
It's
tell you about the
dangerous
cars.
to go
Okay,
35 miles an
I will
hour
tell you.
down the track. Sorry.
Why did you ask that question?
Because I just was wondering, I think maybe
It's
that could be a
safe.
hesitation.
I would tell you. Let me tell you about these cars. These cars are not kits. These cars are all put together.
Yeah.
But what we do with the youngsters, when they come and they ascend the car with a pit crew person, which could be a father, or a brother, or a mother, helping them with the car, they take the shell off the car, they look at the frame of the car and the guts, what we call the guts of the car. They're only required to do two things to make them familiar with how that car is going to function for them. They have to rewire the steering and we rewire the brake. It's easy enough to not do. Actually, anybody who's interested, I have videos, shows them how to stage 1, but they won't be until stage 11 because that's the last part. All the rest of it is already done for them. It's been done by drivers before them. And any driver who's a new driver driving it has to learn those things. It's safe. They do. They go as much as 35 miles an hour down that track and they're so excited. And guess what? It's within a second of difference. Because every car, I will tell you a little bit about that too. And then I'll leave you alone. Maybe. A stock car weighs 60 pounds. But the total weight has to be 200. So we have to find a driver who's under 140 pounds to race in that car. Superstock is 65 pounds, so we have to find a driver under 175 pounds to race that car. So I'm looking for the children here in this school, not any other school, this school. It's been difficult for me to find them I have to reach out. Right now, my children, I run into somebody who's got a son with them or a daughter with them, and I say, why aren't you a soapbox derby driver? And guess what? I get a driver. I want the school to help me. As an example of that, this weekend, we're having races at our track, state-of-the-art track, second only to Akron. We have people coming from Florida, from New York, from Ohio. They're going to race on our track because they need what's called rally points. These are where they race all over the United States and they hope to get the 200 points they need so they can go to Akron in a different division. It's called rally racing. But we're racing, and so are the young drivers that are not rally racing. They're just racing in their cars, but they experience it. I wish we could somehow get some of the kids over there this weekend. I don't know how that's possible, but I would hope maybe by public announcing at the school. I would like it by maybe, I would love to come back with some of the cars, including the school's car, for a small assembly. If we get enough kids that are interested to sit through one, I already have mechanics. You don't have to worry about, I need parents. So, all I can say is thank you for letting me have this time, because it's taken me 20 years to get up here. When Larry told me I had to go to the library tonight, I thought he meant the one in Philadelphia where there's a debate, but I said there's not any seats available there. So I came to this library. I thank you very much. It's really, it's lifting to know that there's a possibility I can find some drivers in the school and you'll help me, okay? Thank you.
Hey, Tom, Rachel noted that it's not proper for us to
Okay.
be having an exchange with
Pass
you.
my friend if they haven't
That's
seen
okay.
it, please.
Thank you.
We'll,
I do have information for you, but.
Good, so it'd be good to leave information, right? And then we'll figure out how to follow through.
Okay, well, I will prepare something for you, but I also will leave my card, and that's how you can reach me, okay? I have them in my pocket, okay? Thank
Thanks
you.
for coming, thanks for your excitement. Never know what's gonna happen at Rappahannock County.
Well, that's why, I know, that's why, I rely on Larry. Larry knows, Larry's been to the track many times. I don't know if you've been there yet, have you?
But
You had a car racing one time, didn't you?
My son raced
Rachel.
the first one for sure.
Yes.
For what
I know.
it's worth, it's just, it's a whole lot safer than riding with anybody in this room.
That's
Pretty
Tom, so what is the,
It's not motorized, all it has to break.
your event that you're talking about?
Yes.
You would like children to see?
And it's.
I would love
It's
for
this weekend?
Yes, it's actually Saturday and Sunday, It's 2 days of driving.
Saturday and Sunday.
They start at 8 o'clock in the morning. They race all day long. They race the next morning, and then the trophies are awarded on the first day, on that day, and then the next day that's a separate batch of
Do you have a
racing again.
website where the information can be found? How can people find out where?
Why don't you go to Piedmont Soapbox Derby, Piedmont Area Soapbox Derby, and it'll be right there,
Soapbox Derby.
and it'll come up.
And it'll come.
It's right
The race-
adjacent
You know
to
where
the
the
Culpeper dump.
Right, it's
Believe it or
actually,
not.
actually, I will tell you, the county gave us 20 acres
Culpeper
of
County.
nothing.
Sorry.
Actually, I think it's an overcoat of the landfill. You won't believe,
Too much information.
you won't believe how the track looks now. It's the state of the art. It's really a beautiful
That's in
track.
there, it's a place to go.
I have pictures of it. That's why the screen would have been perfect to show you. I would still be standing up there, you know.
Well, it's a good kickoff, Tom. We did our.
I'm doing my best. I know.
Yeah, Tom, you let-
I have 20 kids. I don't have any kids, but I have 20 kids.
I believe you, I believe
And I
you.
take good care of them.
What's your last name, Tom?
And they know.
Pelican.
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 Yes.
Good,
Wait,
good.
sure.
It's good to have you with us
Thank
tonight.
you so
Thanks for
much.
coming and speaking to us.
And
That's
thank you.
exciting. Is there anyone else that wants to try to follow that? No?
I can start again.
I believe you.
Tom spent a lot of time in the Senate.
All right, we have actually no action items tonight, so moving on to new business, I think Dr. Grimson
Yes.
will give us an update under new business.
Yes, so new business, we did have a question about the lobbyist. Thank you to Headwaters, the engagement letter was signed, and we have already been in contact with our lobbyist, who is already very busy in Richmond. So we will have standing items as we go through to update the board. It is very, very early still in the process, but she has already engaged with Delegate Weber on just strategizing for the entire session. She's already talked to some staffers, she's talked to, she's even trying to get us in with JLARC again, because they are resurfacing the LCI study a little bit, not the comprehensive like the K-12 funding formula study, but so she's trying to connect us into the right avenues. Right now, a focus will probably be the K-12 subgroup that's meeting next week. So if she needs anything from us, we'll make sure to get that over to her, but she is already working.
And her name is
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was also supposed to give us advice about our marketing materials.
Yes, so she has that as well. So we will schedule a meeting with her after this first couple of weeks when she's, navigating the landscape.
Right.
And then once she has a better idea of the attack strategy,
Right.
we'll get back together and inform everybody what we need to do.
Did you have a list of the subcommittee? Because maybe somebody around here might know somebody on the subcommittee.
You mean our group
Yeah,
or the one in Richmond?
the one in Richmond.
Yeah, it's on the site, so we can, if anyone's interested in the subcommittee for K-12 funding, they're looking at the recommendations from the JLARC report.
Great, thank you.
I had an opportunity this weekend to talk with Suhas, I know you pronounce his name? Yeah, and Senator Kane regarding both of these things.
Yay.
And so it's on their radar, it's on Suhas' radar. I gave him the great sheet of paper, is that what you call it?
Infographic.
Infographic. He said, who did this? I said, oh, she did it. But, so it's on his radar as well.
Okay.
We'll go from there.
Sounds great.
Is there any other new business?
I'll just say that I was able to go to the first PTO meeting of the year, and it was a group of like maybe 15 people and some new parents, and I think part of our efforts, I told them about a little bit of the general, that the school board exists, and that we want to support parents, as we've talked about. And also, as you all know, years ago, we finished a project, an outdoor project in the courtyard at the elementary school, and there have been drawings for an analogous project right at Turquoise Door. And it's been tricky figuring, I think we're gonna need to patch together funding. So there's just an interest in, first of all, knowing that PTO is for all of our system. And I don't think, some of the parents who were at that meeting didn't know that. And also, there is interest in kind of figuring out how to support both schools as PTO. And also just, they were also interested to understand about the cap. I was able to talk about what that means. And it could be, I was wondering, it could be an interesting thing to have a more, little report sometimes at a PTO meeting about ways that the community can advocate, especially around, something like this. Or just to be aware, they read Ireland's articles in the paper, but just to have more of a sense of, well, is this something I could help with in some way, in other ways besides really creative classroom fundraisers. So it was really good and neat to see some new families there. And I just went I'm a parent of school, so I went as a parent and RWP member and whoever else.
You're allowed to be.
Yeah, I wasn't an official capacity.
Thanks.
I wanted to let the board know.
One more thing.
Yes.
We need to advertise this community conversations.
Yes.
This is so important,
Yes.
vital. I don't know whether we got Chris to do anything.
Yeah,
or
so the community conversations, that is happening September 19th from 7 to 9, right here at the high school library. It's going, the
It'll be in
department, it'll be at the auditorium, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
The auditorium, it's going to be a live fireside chat discussion, so a live stream chat between the First Lady of Virginia and Dr. Jonathan Haidt, who wrote the Anxious Generation book. And it's a very interesting book. The first 30 people who show up will get a free copy of the book. And afterwards, after the fireside chat, Dr. Boynton is going to lead a community conversation with our community about cell phone use. We have been in touch with the Sheriff's Office as well to see if we can also get a representative, hopefully Chris Garcia, to come and talk also about the dangers of cell phone use among teens that he has been seeing in the region.
Chris is willing to do it, I talked to him.
Good. So we're waiting to confirm that. We'll get the word out. But yes, I hope we have a great turnout for this. It's a really important discussion, and the book is fascinating. It's a fascinating it's rewiring of adolescent brains and how that works. And he says, what's it called? The Anxious Generation, those born after 1995. And it's this really interesting juxtaposition between overprotection by the parents in the real world and a very much underprotection in the digital world and what that does in adolescence. Really, really neat book. I highly recommend it.
It's got an interesting picture on the cover. Emojis after.
Great, and there are some more of these flyers I think I saw on the credenza over
So
here too.
please take one.
So-
Mhm. Thank you.
And tell your neighbors.
All right, any other new business? Is there any requests for future agenda items? Our next regularly scheduled board meeting is October the 8th at 6:30 in this very same location. Is there a motion to move into closed session?
There is. I move, we just move into closed session, discuss and consider the appointment of staff for classified positions, for coaching positions, retirement of classified positions, dismissal of classified positions, and discussion of the superintendent's goals pursuant to code section 2.2-3711A1.
We have a motion, Mr. Grove, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rubin, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no. So we're going to go to another room, we'll be back in 10 to 15 minutes to do a motion regarding the staff, the hiring, and to adjourn, if you want to hang out. If you don't, you can always find out what happened by calling the board office or looking in the newspaper.
Or watch it on video.
Thank you.
Maybe.